Okay, your life. Good night. I'm going to read this for you. This truck's skin and this area, and it says that strokes are like maps, and they are extensions built on top of maps, and they provide compile time checks and default values. And for people trying to remember how the syntax for map, here it is. I'm going to write this. I'm not creating any project. Uh, Map. Oh my god. A equals one. Not equals associates. And you have your map. And then you retrieve the map. In order to memorize this, you have to do Elixir. Then a lot of hours a day, or at least 1 hour a day. If you're doing it like every 5 days, you will forget the syntax. And then you update map with the syntax, this pipe, and it says, look at this, and you updated the map apparently. But you know, these things are immutables, these enumerables, because you have the original values 1, 2 in map. Okay. Now it says that you get to define dev strokes with this uh, reserved keyword. Let us let us see if we can define the module here. If not, we will have to create before a project struct dev struct name John 27 and it gives you this representation. If you remember from previous lessons or previous live sessions, you have to recognize this. Okay, and you can do an exercise of what's in here. Of course, we will not do that in here. Let's name John age 27, and then it says that the struct takes the name of the module. So you don't you can define two structs in the same module. You can experiment with that. The module this time my user will okay, 3, 4, there's a struct name John. I'm going to declare another structure to experiment. Uh, Last, I suppose they are referring John Lennon. And it says that you can only have one struct for per module, okay, which you can infer with this, and then you can create structs We didn't have the braces, and it has the default values, but you can change the values. I'm not saying you anything new in here. User name Jane from the Spider-Man, Mary Jane or Jane Who, and you get your default age. And it says that it provides you compile time guarantees that only fields defined through truth, destruct will be allowed to exist in struct. And then you have this funny syntax, which we are going to experiment. And it says, oops. And it says that it cannot be expanded. Let's experiment. User name field. And it gives you um, the field value. Only fields defined truth would be allowed to exist in a struct. Okay, but it doesn't explain what's this. I suppose this was some sort of delimiter to say, give me oops, which happens to be a field. Well, that's not the case because it seems like it assigned a field. Let's let's click over here, which is the documentation for the struct, and it says that it's okay. I'm starting to get some disconnection, and I'm not sure if this will be interrupted. It happened earlier, 2 hours ago. So hopefully not. It was just. We can check over here, and apparently we are still live. Yes, because I ended doing a lot of things. Now, the fields argument. Okay, you ended with 21 in here, and then the fields argument is usually a keyword. This one. Oh, the fields argument, keyword list with this, with field names as atoms. You know the syntax, atoms as atom keys, and default values as corresponding values. So these are atoms, which happens to be the keys for the struct. And you can have this list syntax, and their values will be needle. You have documentation for this, and once the struct is defined, it is possible to create it as follows. So you have post, the module post, you have the dev struct with this default with their values default to nil, and then you create Then you create a new struct like this, which take us to uh, to our syntax. This is an atom. We are saying this here. So we are initializing a user struct with the key name. The field name will be this atom, which is represented here. And now our all the ops have been cleared. We already went to this type guarantees. You update, you access fields with this dot notation. Okay, well, I'm going to copy paste this and pattern match for assign this. Remember that equals operator is kind of different here on H, and you get 7. You update with this same as map, this same operator, this same symbol. And if field is not present, you get an error. I'm just saying what is written here. 27. It can be used with pattern matching, both for matching on the value of specific keys, as well as for ensuring that the matched value is struct of the same type of the matched value. Because because John was initialized to this value. Okay, don't forget your session. And then you can have this name as John. Look at this. You are extracting from the, if you will, from this struct. Look at this. Look at this. Atom. You are assigning the value John pattern matching to this. So this thing you are pattern matching on this. And the value will be stored on this variable. But then again, you're pattern matching mostly on the atom name, and you get your value extracted, if you will, from John. Hope, I hope I know all of you know that. I wanted to say it. And then you print a name, which is here, and you say, "Oh, how can you see name, which is here?" Well, with pattern matching. Mm, user, and then no matching here because when you create a user struct, you get this by default. Structs are bare maps underneath map, and it says true. Okay, it's windy over here, so probably you will be hearing the window sound. So we are live still. And I was about I want, when I skimmed this part some minutes ago, I say, oh, it will be cool if I go to the map section, which is here. Here's a map, and they are applying this. This is the map function of the new model, right? But this is the map construct, uh, enumerable, and then you apply this function, and I say, oh, it would be cool if I put instead the struct. So we get to see that it's not the case that the structs inherit or implement. What's the terminology here? Implement an interface or implement a protocol? Or yeah, that's a good question. What's the slang? What's the idiom? What's the how do you say you implement an interface traditionally speaking in Java, and you adhere to a protocol. Imagine an artificial intelligence injecting me ideas in real time. This is from Veritas World, which is a self promotion ongoing story on Veritas World. So I asked the following request to my brain: what is the term related to protocols in the sense in the same sense as when you ask on the interface context, you implement an interface, right? But it, in here says implements. But going back to the Veritas world, which is amazing, please subscribe to the channel so you can see the pieces of information. Imagine your brain says, you come up, you are operating in the world, doing your thing, your activities, and you have inquiries and you have requests to your brain. And the brain, I don't know how this apparatus will operate, if it is autonomous. Uh, the brain is being read, the mind reading is happening on real time, probably by an autonomous system. I don't know. And yeah, I don't know how the communication will happen. Um, and then the apparatus is mind reading you, the human. Apparently, it's a new race in the Veritas world, but I think humans, they are still humans. Bear with me. Parenthesis, Elixir parenthesis. This is great. And yeah, so you're being mind reading in real time. The apparatus detected that your brain has an inquiry, a request, and generates the answer, and then send you to your brain the information. And I said adheres to a protocol, but I didn't read that is implements. That is implements also just like interfaces, right? So how cool is apparatus? And hopefully, in Veritas world, people are getting sufficient training on ethics, humanism, and the apparatus is not operated by a bunch of, I don't want to say trash talking in here, but let's hope for the best humans, the best specimens the humans have operates the apparatus in Veritas world, of it, of or if it is autonomous. follow the story of Verita. It is great. I hope it will evolve into instead of having pieces of information and you uh, coming up with the complete puzzle. This is my interpretation of the information delivered. At some point will be great. Okay, that's great. But this is where it's really happening. But your interpretation is yours, and you should be happy. And now go back to reality. Don't get lost in science fictions. Don't get lost into fantasies. Great fantasies, amazing. But come back to reality. We are coming back to traditional programming. Oh yeah, maps, uh, enumerables, anonymous functions. Where where are the strokes? Where are the strokes? Oh, here they are. Okay, I was about to showcase this, so you can see. Okay, that's amazing. This guy is an expert on Elixir, but it's here. At least I wanted to do it for you. But these guys were ahead of the curve and said, let's put an example in here. It's well documented. Elixir is well documented. John, and they are having an each for each of the, this. They are trying to apply this anonymous function. And I don't believe myself talking like this because at the beginning it was very difficult to grasp some ideas. Many years ago, many years ago, it was very difficult to grasp some basic ideas of programming. If you have some doubts, if you have questions, no matter how naive they might seem, you can share with me in your comments. I love this, and I will try to share with you if I happen to know the answer. But at this point of time, you will say, and why I will be asking you, Caleb, if I have my AI assistant, the one of your preference, in which I can ask the questions instead of waiting days for you to answer or hours. I don't know. I suppose you will have to balance the human touch, which I suppose in the future will be injected in your brain to, I don't know, just imagining. Default values and required keys. If you don't specify the default key value when defining a struct, nil will be assumed. So, which is what we read in the documentation, right? You have your product structs. You have your list, keywords, keyword list, your fields. Look at this. Look at this. You will have to learn to differentiate this. Sometimes it's here, sometimes it's here. Which reminds me of the song which I need to finish because I want to play the guitar. The practice of Flying in a Blue Dream by Joe Satriani. Sometimes they do that like they like each other, but sometimes they don't. So yeah, learn to differentiate this. You can define a structure combining both fields and explicit default values. Let me grasp this concept because I'm doing this for me mostly. You can define a structure combining both fields with explicit default values and, and implicit values. Okay, In this case, you must specify, you must first specify the fields which input. Okay, you can have fields with values like this, but you can say, I want some, I don't know the value of this. I want to be nil. You get to, you need to put this first. I don't know if this knowledge is encoded in an IDE. So if you write something different in some famous IDE, for example, H in here and email in here, the IDE should tell you, help you and assist you and say, email, let me fix this for you. I'm going to rewrite your line of code and put it like this. I don't know if that's possible right now. I haven't explored the most advanced AI uh, coding assistant tools. And then you have your struct being created with email with a nil value. Now I do have this question. To be honest, I don't like to pretend that much. So let me think. And we finish with that. Okay, we have a keyword list. So these are keys. This is when you see this, the column in here, these are the keys of the struct or the map. Where is the map? Oh, here there is in fact arrows. Syntax. Okay. Yeah, these are the fields. And this is well then again look at this. Where is it? Where is it? Here. This is a field. And then we have this, which is these are atom the documentation. So now we got it. When you see the column 2 years ago, going for the first time with Elixir, I said, come on, sometimes this thing is here and sometimes here. Uh, you can also enforce that certain keys have to be specified when creating a struct via the enforce keys module. With this annotation, but they are saying this so there are lots they mentioned for with this module attribute, great, which they say that it can be used as annotations. They annotate some tests with the task module attribute. Enforce keys, and you have this, which provide simple compiling guarantee that the thread is not. Okay, this is great. And we're done. Well, now let me see something over here. Okay, when you see the column in here, it's an atom prefixed, and the value is the atom itself. Remember that. Now maps. Where are maps? Okay, we get into basic types. So remember this now. Don't forget it. I will test myself in the future sessions with this because it will be again. Okay, atoms. Okay, you have lots of atoms here. Look at this. Now you know. Prefixed with a colon atom. So now you're looking for the maps. Okay, maps. Here, atom, atom. Okay, maps equally pairs. And now let's talk about, okay. Look at this. So here's the difference. A keyword list or data structures. What if you only want to split it as a function? So these are not atoms, right? But let us find out how they call it. So these are keys. The first element, the key, is an atom. Okay, according to them, this is a key, but it happens to be an atom too. And the second element can be any value. Okay, be careful with this. These are keys. These are keys because the column is here, but they are atoms. I mean, probably, which most likely, it means that they do have the same value. And here it is, keys must be atoms. And look at this. We have these parts, and look at this. Look how beautiful is this. This is an atom. We have just saw that prefix with column, but then it is equivalent with these parts, with this suffix, yeah, with the column. Keys must be atoms. Keys are ordered. Keys can be given more than once. So yeah, now you have clear your mind. You have atoms, traditional atoms, and you have atoms in disguise as keys. Okay, now we are all happy. Look at this. The maps get any value as keys. No, I'm sorry. Okay, we are done. And look at this. Predefined keys, but they are atoms. And where's the other? Yeah. So now you're clear. Yeah, that's it. Don't get confused. 35 minutes. I think we've done it. Happy weekend. Right. Yeah, happy weekend.